staring down the UNC Tar Heel. That pitch gets away from Fabian Pena. Advancing to third is Dodson. Advancing to second is Anchia. And now the situation just got a whole lot stickier for Austin Bergner. 2 runners in scoring position, 2 out for the Wareham Gatemen. Still in the first inning. Blake Sable waits on deck, the first baseman, the USC Trojan. That pitch looked like it was a pass ball because it did not bounce. Just a little bit outside, running on that curveball that runs 11.5 can be pretty tough to read for the catcher Pena, especially with a guy you're not too familiar with. Here's the pitch. They say Topa holds up, and he's going to head down to first. So the bases are jammed now on a walk to John Topa. Blake Sable now. Sable the lefty facing the righty Bergner, who's run into some early inning trouble right now, and a good hitter at the plate. Sable hacks through an inside pitch. Looks like the changeup. 0-1 on him. Sable 1 home run, 4 RBIs this season. That home run came at McKeon Park in Hyannis earlier this year, en route to a big Gatemen win, a rout over the Harbor Hawks in the month of June. Harbor Hawks currently sitting in last in the Western Division, trying to hunt down Wareham for that 4th spot, that final playoff spot in the West. Bergner looking at Sable and delivers the pitch, ground to the first baseman, Patton. He runs to the bag and steps on it to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and the Gatemen leave the bases jammed. On to the second. It's 0-0 here on WCTV. I am talking to no one.
Griffin Roberts.
Welcome back. It is the top half of the second inning. It's the Chatham Anglers and the Wareham Gatemen here at Spillane Field. A beautiful, what day is it? It is Monday. It's a beautiful Monday evening here in Wareham. The Gatemen and the Anglers well into this one. It's the second inning, no score between these two teams. The Gatemen in their red uniforms. Chatham coming in here wearing their classic road blues, and swinging and missing through that one is the dangerous John Aiello. New guy on this Chatham roster. This is his first at-bat with the Anglers. First game as well. Aiello playing third base, and he swings and misses through a Roberts fastball. It's 0-2 on him pretty quickly. Working ahead in the count is the dangerous Griffin Roberts. How good has he been this year? Well, he's been incredible. He has a 2.57 ERA, 14 innings pitched. And that one came inside and hit the catcher's glove of Anchia. It looked like it might have hit Aiello from here, but Aiello just flinching out of the way of that slider that might have ran up. Aiello making his debut for Chatham, the right-handed batter. Lines this one right back up the middle for a base hit, the first hit of the game off of Griffin Roberts for the Chatham Anglers. And they're cooking something up, nobody out here in the second inning. Both teams went scoreless in the first. Nick Patton's going to step in. The Delaware Blue Hen. And boy, did he do some damage against the Gatemen last time these two met. It was a doubleheader out at Veterans Field in Chatham, and it was a doubleheader sweep for the Anglers. And Nick Patton was the primary producer for the Anglers, hitting 2 home runs that day, 1 in each game. Snap throw back to first. Did they get Aiello? They did. He didn't slide, and Sable tags him out. They catch Aiello sleeping at first base. Welcome to the Cape League. And he's out. 1 down in the second. Impressive stuff from Jake Anchia. They've been working on that all season, those snap throws down to first. McIver's executed it a few times. But now Anchia coming in clutch with the pickoff move. Griffin Roberts now gets some help from his defense and now is facing Nick Patton with nobody on base. That pitch comes up and hits Patton on the shoulder. The second hit batter of the game, the first for the Wareham Gatemen and Griffin Roberts, and once again a guy on base. A racing pace towards this first inning, or this first inning and a half of this game. I'll run you through the Chatham lineup as we did not do so in the top half of the first, came a little bit late. Josh Shaw led off. He grounded out to short. He's at second base. Jacob Olson hit second. He struck out looking. He's in right field. This one's chopped back to the Griffin Roberts, leaps and makes the safe play over to first to get Fabian Pena, the catcher, for the second out. Shea Langeliers hit third. He hit in the first inning. The designated hitter flew out to right field. John Aiello, you just saw him lead off the inning with a single, then was picked off. He's batting cleanup at third base. Nick Patton is at first base. He was just hit by a pitch. He hit fifth. Fabian Pena just now grounded back to Griffin Roberts. He hit sixth. Josh Stowers is in left field. He's at the plate right now. He's hitting seventh. Antonio Relat, shortstop, batting eighth. Mason Coppins, the center fielder, will bat ninth. And this pitch on the outside corner, a fastball from Roberts, 0-1 to Josh Stowers, the left fielder. Stowers, the Louisville Cardinal, has a ton of speed, so you don't want to put this guy on. Takes a strike on the slider, 0-2. Talk about speed. You think Jaron Duran of the Gatemen has speed? How about Stowers? 22 for 22 stealing bases this year for the Louisville Cardinals. The Louisville Cardinals. Some people would get really mad at me for saying Louisville. Inside corner called strike three. Griffin Roberts fools the hitter Stowers with a slider that runs from the inside corner. And the second strikeout of the day for Roberts. Retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. To the bottom half of the second we go. It's 0-0 here on WCTV between the Gatemen and the Anglers. Welcome back. It is the bottom half of the second inning. The Gatemen and the Anglers scoreless here on WCTV. We'll run you through the Gatemen lineup in just a second, but right now it's Tristan Pompey. Pompey in his Gatemen debut hit 2 home runs. This one's grounded right through the right side for a base hit. Pompey leads off this inning with a bullet ground ball single between the second baseman Shaw and the first baseman Nick Patton. So Pompey getting a good taste of what he can do right there. The Kentucky outfielder, also been DHing most of the time since getting to Wareham. He has himself a single. And Jaron Duran's going to step in. We'll run you through the Gatemen lineup. We failed to do so in the first inning. Stephen Kwan led off the game. He popped out to short. He's in center field. Tanner Dotson, the right fielder, was hit by a pitch. He later advanced to third. Duran swings at the first pitch, flies it out into foul territory in left, and making the play on the run is Josh Stowers. Heading back to first is Tristan Pompey. So Duran faces one pitch and flies out in foul territory. Kyle Kasser hit third. He flew out to right back in the first inning. Jake Anchia singled. He's hitting cleanup. John Topa out of UConn walked back in the first. He's batting fifth. Blake Sable, the USC Trojan, grounded out to the first baseman in the first inning. He hit sixth. Tristan Pompey, you just saw him single. He's right on first base right now. There he is, chilling on first with the first baseman, Nick Patton. They try to go over to Patton to pick him off, but nothing doing. Jaron Duran just flew out. He hits eighth. Ben Baird rounding out the order. He's at the plate right now. The Washington Husky hitting 150 so far. And the pitch is high to him. Baird ahead in the count, 1-0. Getting the start at shortstop today. His teammate, Willie McIver at Washington, he's been in every single game so far. He started every single game so far up to today. Swing and a miss by Baird. It's 1-1. So McIver sitting out, getting the day off for the first time this season. And I wonder how he feels about that, playing the first half of the season untouched. And then his coach, Don Sneddon, says, all right, it's time for you to get a day off, Willie. And I'm sure he'll gladly take a seat. I'm sure he's exhausted after all these games. Not many days off coming up for the Gatemen either. Fouled away. Ben Baird now down in the count, 1-2. So not a lot of days off. As we just said, July 18th is the next scheduled day off, and after that, I believe there's only one more day off on the Gatemen schedule. And with rainouts and whatnot, that could very easily change. Tomorrow's game against the Brewster Whitecaps was rescheduled from Friday after the big storm came through the Cape. And that game will begin at 6:30 p.m. here at Spillane. Catch it right here on WCTV against the Brewster Whitecaps in the middle of the pack in the Eastern Division. Once again, fouled away by Ben Baird. Pompey has some speed over at first. He tried to steal a base late in the game yesterday, but he was caught by a few feet. And a lot of base running errors ultimately cost the Gatemen a chance to win that ball game yesterday. Willie McIver was at second, got picked off behind him at second base. Tough for him. And that was an extra innings. Just a bad base running error by a really disciplined base runner otherwise. That eventually led to YD winning that game 3-1. Lined into left field. It's a fair ball for a base hit. Rounding second, heading for third is Pompey. Here comes the throw. It's going to get cut off in a double. Standing up for Ben Baird. His second extra base hit of the season. And now the Gatemen are cooking second and third with one out in the second inning. And facing a lot of trouble is Austin Bergner. That's the third hit he's given up out of North Carolina. That's got to be great for Ben Baird. He's really struggled this season. He's now 7 for 41. But another extra base hit for him. He's been getting better as the season goes on. You can just tell by the way he's swinging, the pitches that he's swinging at. He's not chasing as much out of the zone as he did when this season began. He's still a young guy. Former draft pick out of high school. was bared by the Cleveland Indians, but opted to attend the Washington Huskies instead. Out in Seattle, the Northern California native waiting on second, while his teammate Stephen Kwan, his fellow Pac-12 counterpart at Oregon State, is in for his second at-bat. Fouls it down the line towards the Chatham dugout. Counts now 1-1 on Kwan. Kwan popped out to the shortstop, Antonio Relat, back in the first inning. And here in the second, he's already up again. Kwan awaits from Bergner, who's in the stretch. Has a lot of issues in these first two innings. Fake pickoff attempt over to third, just stepping off the mound. Bergner struck out 45 batters this season. Line right to the shortstop. They make the easy play at first for the second out. Scoring on the play is Tristan Pompey. And the Gatemen take a 1-0 lead in the second inning. Ben Baird advances to third. It's an RBI ground out for Stephen Kwan. And boy, he has 7 RBIs in 7 games now. Keep the streak going, Stephen Kwan. He's been really impressive since getting here. Doesn't have any extra base hits, but has 11 hits this year. Just shows that he can find holes in the infield. That one might have gotten through had number 9, Antonio Relat, at shortstop been playing a little bit more towards the regular shortstop position. Swing and a miss. That's Tanner Dodson at the plate right now. His at-bat was cut short back in the first after he was hit by a pitch. So I'm sure he's coming up here looking for something a little bit more than that. Didn't really have an opportunity. And now the umpire, the home plate umpire, is out to the mound to talk to the pitcher, Austin Bergner. He's going to head back. Not sure what that conference was about. One 0 Gatemen against the Anglers. The lefty, Tanner Dodson, is facing the righty, Austin Bergner. UNC Chapel Hill product delivers a outside corner strike to Dodson. Counts 0-2. He's in the hole. Kyle Kasser waits on deck with a runner on third base. That runner is Ben Baird. And stepping out of the box is Dodson. He'll take his time. Baird has scored only 4 runs this season, trying to tack on to that total. We just mentioned it was only his second extra base hit all season. Grounded right to the third baseman, Aiello runs and fires over to first to beat Tanner Dodson, and the side is retired. But the Gatemen get on the board first. They get 1 run on 2 hits, no errors. 1 man left on base. Off to the third. It's 1-0 Gatemen on WCTV. Antonio Relat set to step in for the Chatham Anglers to begin this top half of the third inning. Griffin Roberts back out on the mound. He's been sharp through 2. You saw that strikeout of Josh Stowers to end the second. Well, that was that go-to backdoor or front door slider, I should say, on those right-handed batters. It looks like it's going to hit the batter. from our camera angle, but then comes right back in. An incredible pitch. And that one fouled away. Fastball to Antonio Relat. The Relat out of the University of Alabama, Birmingham. That's UAB. The Blazers recently made news in the past few years for cutting their football program, which is so beloved to many people in Birmingham because, Alabama is one of the biggest football states out there, and they cut it. Relat chops it back to Roberts. He's going to walk it over to first, toss over to his first baseman, Sable, to retire Antonio Relat routinely, 1 out in the third. Mason Coppins is now the final hitter in the Chatham order in the 9-hole, and he's going to step in to face Roberts. Roberts with 2 strikeouts thus far, both of them looking. And with a lot of right-handed batters in this lineup, that's an advantage toward the right-handed pitcher in Griffin Roberts, and here he is. And that pitch on the inside corner fouled into the Chatham dugout. 0-1 on Coppins. Coppins, a Northeastern Husky. So he goes to school pretty locally, but he's a Louisiana native. Swings and misses through that one. It's 0-2. Really productive season for the Huskies this season at Northeastern. .264 with 6 triples. Dealing is Roberts. It's that slider, and it catches the inside corner, fooling Coppins. You see the movement on that thing. It is wild. As Roberts gets his 3rd strikeout, all looking. 2 outs here in the 3rd. Josh Shaw is the next guy up. Shaw led off this game with a ground out to short. And the Gatemen pregame show, you can see that right on YouTube on the Wareham Gatemen YouTube page. In the Gatemen pregame show, Josh Shaw was my player to watch. And he's been outstanding this season. The St. John's Red Storm, the former Big East Freshman of the Year in 2016, hit .297 that season. Here's the pitch to the righty, inside. So Roberts behind in one of the first counts he's been behind in all year. The Wayne, New Jersey native Josh Shaw sitting at 2-1. Shaw has not only been the best hitter for his St. John's team, he's been the best hitter for his Chatham Anglers team. He's in the leadoff spot today. .352. That's among the top 5 in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Fouled away. 2-2. .403 on base percentage for Shaw this season. Roberts settling himself and getting ready in a 2-2 count, trying to end this 3rd inning. Here's the pitch. Slider swung on and missed. What a pitch. Gets Shaw to chase outside, down swinging off to the bottom half of the 3rd. Here on WCTV, it's 1-0 Gatemen.
Baseball Network.
Welcome back. I'm Claudia Chakamian. So it's been a hectic day here at Spillane Field all morning. So the game, we didn't know if it was going to happen. We're really happy it's here. It's a beautiful night so far. The Gatemen did not have batting practice or have their normal pregame routines, and the Anglers got here pretty late for a game and didn't take their normal BP either. So we didn't know what to expect, especially after the Gatemen had those late these past 2 late innings, the past 2 nights. I talked to head coach Don Snennen before the game. He said they should be fine. They took some BP back behind the cages before the game. He said it's not what they're used to, but they can adapt, and that's what it's about. It's adapting and not breaking that routine. So, we're not expecting the situation to happen often, of course, but they said as long as they got that practice in, they'll be fine. Also, I asked him about what does he think, they didn't get that normal practice in, and having those late innings, what does he think was going to happen with that bullpen especially? He said they should be good as long as they don't go into any more extra innings over these next couple of days, which I think we can all agree on. We don't really want to see happening. And then he said as of getting the game not to go into extras, he said they just need to go out there and score early, which is exactly what they did in that last inning, getting that run on the board. So we'll have to see what happens next. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Claudia. Kyle Kasser will lead it off.
Thanks, Claudia. As she just mentioned, a pretty crazy morning here at Wareham Public Schools. Of course, a phenomenal job by the Wareham Police Department and the rest of the surrounding police departments to get that cleared up as quickly as possible. You're looking at the 3-hitter, Kyle Kasser. Takes a strike. Kasser leading off this inning. The Oregon Duck takes a pitch inside, a slider or that 11-5 curveball, from Bergner inside. 2-1 on Kasser, who flew out to right field back in the first. This one's chopped to the second baseman, Shaw. He fields it and throws over to Patton for the first out of the third inning. Kyle Kasser is 0 for 2. Jake Anchia is 1 for 1. He bats next. Jake Anchia, one of the coolest stories for the Gatemen thus far, leading this team in home runs. But when you read him off the stat sheet, it's not the flashiest guy. He's from a D2 school in Nova Southeastern. He's a catcher. That pitch is low. It's 1-0. And he's just been a good surprise for the Gatemen. He came in as a temporary roster player, but has worked on the full-time roster. Of course, always good to have an extra catcher in your lineup, and Anchia has been the secondary guy behind William McIver. He pops this one toward the first baseman, Patton. Backing up and grabbing it from him is the second baseman, Josh Shaw. Stealing it from his fellow right side infielder and making the play. I guess he really wanted to put out there, did Josh Shaw, and he gets it on Jake Anchia. That could have been a disaster. 2 down in the third. John Topa is 0 for 0. He walked back in the first, and this is his first at-bat of the game. I mean, we don't know that for sure yet, but we'll see. And it looks like it will be. He flies it out to right field. Making the play in deep right is Jacob Olson, the South Carolina Gamecock, to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. The Gatemen go down in order, 1, 2, 3. You're listening and watching Wareham Gatemen baseball here on WCTV. Off to the fourth. It's 1-0 Gatemen. Welcome back. Top half of the fourth inning. It's 1-0 Gatemen here on WCTV. The Gatemen scored their lone run. Back in bottom half of the second, it was Tristan Pompey scoring that run on a Stephen Kwan RBI groundout. And that's the way the score stands. Griffin Roberts, that slider catches the outside corner, 0-1 on Jacob Olson. Been another really productive hitter for Chatham, swinging away at this second pitch, and it's popped up toward the third baseman. Calling him off is the shortstop, Ben Baird, to make the play down the line. Quick outs in this game all around. Swinging away are the Chatham Anglers early in the at-bats, early in the counts. One down quickly in the fourth. And the dangerous Shea Langoliers steps in. Langoliers has 2 grand slams this season. And he takes a pitch inside. 1-0. One of those grand slams came just a few days ago for Chatham. A big win for them. And that pitch is in there for a strike. Here's the pitch to Langoliers on the inside part of the plate, but a ball. And that last grand slam for Shea Langoliers broke a 5-5 tie back on Saturday against the YD Red Sox. It was 5-5 late in that game, and Langoliers came up with the bases loaded and jacked a grand slam out of the ballpark at Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth. And eventually that score held up at 9-5. Inside corner on the slider, getting back in the count from 3-1 is Griffin Roberts. It's now a full count on Langoliers. Langoliers 308 on base percentage this year, a 250 average. Slider called strike 3 on the outside corner. Griffin Roberts, his 5th of the game already. We're only 3 2/3 into this game. And he's just fooling these batters left and right. He's now struck out the first 3 batters of this game, separate occasions, but he's done so to really the heart of this Chatham order. Comes 1, 2, 3 with Shaw, Olson, and Langoliers. Those are the 3 best hitters, undisputedly, for Chatham. You just saw Langoliers, the Baylor Bear, and now it's John Aiello stepping in. He's 1 for 1, but was then thrown out at first on a snap throw by the catcher, Jake Anchia. Aiello takes a pitch outside, 1-1 on him. The Wake Forest pitcher facing the Wake Forest hitter. These teammates swing and a miss by Aiello. You'd think he know Roberts' repertoire a little bit better than this. He's down 0-2. Probably looking for that slider from his fellow Demon Deacon. Aiello, the CCBL returner, takes a pitch in the dirt on the slider, 1-2. Last season, Aiello played for Chatham, hit 189. 20 hits over 34 games, 1 home run, 6 RBIs for the Lansdale, Pennsylvania native. Called strike 3. Aiello heads back to the dugout. He got the better of his Wake Forest teammate in the first inning. The Wake Forest teammate of his, Griffin Roberts, gets the better of him here in the fourth. To the bottom of the fourth we go. 1-0 Gatemen on WCTV. Griffin Roberts is putting on a show.
back with John Garner, Director of Broadcasting for the Cape Cod Baseball League, and talked about it just right there in the break. John Schiffner has just been otherworldly incredible for this Chatham Anglers team. 25 years in service.
One of the great things about John is not only the success of his teams here, and he certainly had a lot of playoff, I think 15 playoff appearances for his teams, but over 120 major leaguers he's managed during that time. It's just incredible. Blake
Sable's the batter here. It's the bottom half of the fourth.
Grounded out to the first baseman his first time up, swings and hits this one foul. Yeah, he is. The players love him. The whole organization has just had a real true appreciation for him.
They really have. The team that I believe had the most major leaguers was this 2005 team, which actually lost.
It's 0-1, and the hitter is Blake Sable out of USC. And this one's flown out to right field. Deep right field. On the track and making the play is Jacob Olson. Blake Sable gave that one a ride, but not quite enough to leave Spillane Field. Pretty deep out there. In right, down the foul line. The Gatemen bullpen just behind there. And Sable gave it a ride. Not enough, though. He has one home run this season at a little bit of a friendlier ballpark in McKeon Park in Hyannis. One out in the fourth. Tristan Pompey, 1-for-1 with a single back in the first inning. Steps in. It's 1-0 from Bergner. The UNC Tar Heel still on the mound. And that pitch is low, 1-1. Or 2-0, excuse me. Pompey, the SEC leader in hits this season, grounds it foul. But has faced a little bit of tougher competition, a little bit of a harder time adjusting to that wood bat. Pretty interestingly, he uses the bats of his brother, Dalton Pompey, who is a player for the Toronto Blue Jays. Pitches inside. So Pompey borrows those bats from his brother and has broken a few of them. But, you know, they say Dalton Pompey on him. It's pretty cool stuff. Inside to Pompey, and he works a 4-pitch walk. So productive day thus far for a power hitter, not via the long ball, but via some good at-bats, getting on base both times. Laughing it off with first base coach Sean Callahan right now. And there's a runner on first with one out for Jaron Duran, who popped out to the left fielder, Josh Stowers. That was in the second inning. Duran, out of Long Beach State, has tons of speed, hitting .224 so far this year. In Long Beach State, runner goes, and the hit and run was on, but Duran fouled it away towards the middle school, over towards all the events that happen behind home plate here at Spillane Field. The Gatemen merchandise and more merchandise can be purchased behind home plate, of course. Waiting on first right now is Tristan Pompey with a walk. They go over to first for a pickoff attempt, but he dives back safely. Bergner has allowed 6 base runners here. It's the fourth inning. 1 run, 3 hits, so 3 base runners via the walk or the hit by pitch. Grounded to second. They tag out Pompey onto first in time for the double play. The Gatemen go down in 3 batters. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base to the 5th. It's 1-0 Wareham on WCTV. Yeah, they have one. Griffin Roberts back out to the mound for the 5th inning. He's been outstanding so far for Wareham, just as he has all season. He's still without a decision in this game, and if he goes this full inning, he's in line for the win, unless Chatham can build something here in the 5th inning. But as of now, they have not been able to touch Griffin Roberts' slider, and Nick Patton is going to try to change that. He didn't really have much of an opportunity back in the 2nd inning to do so because he was hit by a pitch. Patton, the Delaware Blue Hen, takes a pitch outside from Griffin Roberts, 1-0. We'll take you around the Cape Cod League. A lot of great games going on today, including 2 very important Western Division games occurring. Swing and a miss by Patton, 1-1. In the East, or in the Western Division, Hyannis and Katuitt, they're in a close one right now. It's pretty much a shootout out there. It's 8-7 Hyannis in the 8th inning. Lined into left field for a base hit. Leadoff single for Nick Patton. He continues to kill the Gatemen this year. I mentioned he had 2 home runs his first time against the Gatemen. 2 separate games, but a doubleheader. Back games 3 and 4 of the season in Chatham. The Gatemen were, it was games 4 and 5 of the season. The Gatemen were 2-1 heading into that game and exited 2-3. They have not been above 500 since. Grounded past the diving third baseman and into left for a base hit. Kasser tried to lay out but could not get there. Topa fields it and gets it in the infield. But now 1st and 2nd, nobody out against Griffin Roberts off 2 quick singles from Patton and Pena. Josh Stowers is the next guy. Stowers from Louisville takes a ball low, 1-0. And if you're thinking double play ball for the Gatemen right now, this is not the guy who's going to hit into a double play that easily, because he can fly down to first base. So anything in the infield, likely a fielder's choice. Inside, or just outside, excuse me. And it's now 2-0 on Stowers. So Roberts trying to work out of trouble for the first time today. This is the first time that the Chatham Anglers have had a runner in scoring position. It's Nick Patton, the 15 RBI guy for the Anglers. Swing and a miss by Stowers on an inside fastball. 2-1. So Hyannis beating Katuitt right now, 8-7, trying to climb their way back into the Western Division standings. They're currently in last. And now it's 9-7 as we speak. It was a Jake Mangum RBI. The Mississippi State guy, one of the best guys in this entire league. Had a phenomenal season for Mississippi State this season. Former SEC batting title winner, I believe, in Mangum. 3-1. Lined right to the shortstop. Barrett, he goes back to second, not in time for the double play. Very close. But Ben Baird gets the out. And a big out, nonetheless, on a good hitter. A Louisville Cardinal hitter in Josh Stowers. Stowers struggling so far in the CCBL, though. He's now just 4 for 24. Simplify that down, he's 1 for every 6. And Antonio Relat trying to work with this runner in scoring position, now 1 out in the 5th. Jordan Britton's expected to pitch later in this game. Pitch outside on a slider to Relat, 1-0. Talk about defense for the Gatemen. Been a lot better recently. It's been the base running that's kind of faltered them a little bit, but Ben Baird's been phenomenal defensively at shortstop most of the season. Rarely an error over there at defense, and this outfield has been spot on. John Topa and Stephen Kwan especially. Lined into right for a base hit. Rounding third, heading for home is Patton. The throw is cut off. It goes to third. Not in time to beat the runner Fabian Pena, who's safe at third. It's 1-1 on an RBI single from Antonio Relat, the UAB Blazer. And Chatham right back in it and threatening more with 2 men on and 1 out. So Chatham had a lot of trouble solving Griffin Roberts in the first 4 innings of this game, but have now gotten to him in the 5th. They have tied it. The Gatemen are 0-1-1 in their last 2 after winning 2 in a row before that. And the last 2 games have been a combined 23 innings. 12 on Saturday. That was a 9-9 tie down in Falmouth. Rare that you see a tie in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Even more rare that you see a 9-9 tie where the team's hitting just goes off. They were just trading runs. Breaking ball in there for a strike. It's now 0-2 on Mason Coppins, the 9-hitter. Coppins won a New England championship in high school with the Salisbury School up in northwest Connecticut. And that team that he played for at Salisbury, undefeated, 21-0 en route to the New England championship. Here's the 0-2. Grounded to the second baseman, Duran. He bobbles it, and there's going to be no play. The run's going to score from third. It's 2-1 Chatham. Granted, the run would have scored anyway, but either way, Duran unable to get the out. He was kind of blocked a little bit, his vision was, by the runner at first where Lott was running by as the ball came towards Duran, and that might have messed with him a little bit. And the run comes across. It's Fabian Pena scoring on an RBI. Well, there probably won't be an RBI because of the error, but it's going to be Mason Coppins getting the clutch hit to the right side of the infield that allowed Pena to come across. 2-1 Chatham now. Josh Shaw, the leadoff guy, is at the plate. This pitch is grounded to the first baseman. Sable steps on the bag to beat Josh Shaw. 2 down in the 5th. After Shaw's ground out, the runners advance. Lott to third, Coppins to second. Griffin Roberts still on the mound. Probably his final inning of work here. He had such a spectacular first 4 innings. Struck out 6 batters, 5 of which were looking. Just fooled by that slider. This one's popped up. Deep left field. And playing it is John Topa to retire the side. But the Chatham Anglers hop over the Gatemen in the score column. It's 2-1 now. Heading to the bottom half of the 5th. We're halfway home on WCTV. Wareham 1, Chatham 2. Halfway through this game, it's 2-1 Chatham after a big top half of the 5th for the Anglers. The RBIs or the RBI coming from Antonio Relat, and then Mason Coppins reaching on an error, and then eventually that play scored Fabian Pena from third base. It's 2-1 Chatham. Back out on the mound, number 53, Austin Bergner. And he delivers inside, 1-0. The batter is Ben Baird, who's 1 for 1 with an extra base hit. That was a double back in the second. Baird out of Washington, the Husky, recently played a nice game of Would You Rather with Willie McIver, and you can check that out on the Gatemen YouTube page. That'll be posted maybe tomorrow or the day after on Wareham Gatemen YouTube. The 1-0 is outside, 2-0. And Bergner's been falling behind in a few counts, but it hasn't really cost him because the Gatemen haven't been able to string hits together. They had a big chance in the first that right now they're looking back on that one, and they're like, oh, well, we left the bases loaded back in the first inning, and they were able to get one in the second on an RBI ground out from Kwan. But other than that, it's been limited production, no hits. They've gone just 6 batters in the last 2 innings on 1 walk. Strike called on the outside corner. The count is 3-1 on Ben Baird. Kind of does his little Derek Jeter, halting the umpire before he digs in. That pitch on the outside corner, 3-2, jumping out of the batter's box towards first base, thinking it might have been outside. Was Baird, but it's now a full count. And Bergner's already ready. Baird digs in, Bergner waits for him, now kicks and fires toward home plate, swing and a miss, Baird down swinging. Bergner gets back into the count and strikes out the 9-hitter. Well, Stephen Kwan might be 0 for 2 today, but he had a productive out in the second, scoring Tristan Pompey for the only run of the game for the Gatemen. He's 11 for 28 this season. 7 RBIs. This is his 7th game. In there for a strike to the Oregon State Beaver. 0-1. The pitch comes in, right back up the middle for a base hit. Who would have thought? I mean, Stephen Kwan, there was no way he was going more than 2 at-bats without finding himself on first with a single. That's his 12th single in 7 games this season. All of his 12 hits have been singles. Tanner Dodson steps in. Runner on first, 1 out in the 5th inning. You're listening and watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on WCTV. I'm your broadcaster, Sam Corman. Thank you for joining us today. We apologize for the late start. We experienced some technical difficulties, had to get this thing going as quickly as possible for all the Gatemen fans in town. Also a pretty crazy morning here at Wareham Schools, but it's all been resolved. Runner goes. They ground it on the hit and run, but it's foul. Almost executed the hit and run to perfection, but Tanner Dodson just a little bit too early on that swing. Grounded it just foul down the... Excuse me, that ball was fair, and picking it up was the first baseman, Patton, and he stepped on first. So 1 down, Kwan advanced to second because of the hit and run. And now a runner in scoring position with 2 out for Kyle Kasser. The Gatemen trail by 1 in the 5th inning. Kasser lines this one into left. Is it fair? It's just foul down the line, about an inch or 2 away from driving in Stephen Kwan right there. But you saw Kyle Kasser do the same exact thing a few nights ago in the 13-2 win over Bourne last week. Hit an opposite field line drive in that same exact spot, just in fair territory, and was able to get an RBI out of that. But now he's in an 0-1 count. Hitting .308 this season. On the outside corner, it's 0-2. Quan back to second. The Gatemen have already left 4 runners on base today. 3 in the first, 1 in the second. Did not have much going in the third or fourth. Here we are in the fifth. They're down 2-1. Lined over the third baseman and into left field for a base hit. Quan's going to score. It's 2-2 on a clutch RBI from Kyle Kasser. A really tough hop for the third baseman, Aiello. It's probably going to be scored a hit because of that. We'll find out in just a moment. But a clutch piece of hitting by Kasser. He's been doing that all season. He has his 6th RBI of the season. And it's a tie game once again. After the Chatham Anglers took the lead in the top half, the Gatemen tied up here in the bottom half. Jake Anchia steps in, singled in the first, popped out to the second baseman back in the third. And the pitch comes up high, 1-0 on him. Another big game in the Western Division. It's Bourne and Falmouth. And those two guys are tied, or not tied, but battling it out for second place in the division right now. In there for a strike. To Anchia, it's 1-1. Falmouth scored 4 in the second. And right now the score stands at 4-1 Falmouth. George Yancha, the Texas A&M Aggie. He hit a home run against Wareham on Saturday. He has another one today. And Cam O'Neill also on the board with the long ball. We see a lot of home runs down there at Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth. 2 more for the Commodores today. Quite a hitter's ballpark down there. Lot different than Spolian Field. That's unfair. The Commodores just whack him out of the park. Grant Witherspoon made it 4-1 for Bourne in the 6th. But the home runs from O'Neill and Yancha have Falmouth on top. Popped foul out of play by Anchia. Count remains at 2-2. And in some Eastern Division matchups, Yarmouth Dennis facing the Brewster Whitecaps. That game was final 4-0 YD. They've given up just 1 run in their last 2 games. More impressively, as you get a look at one of our spectacular WCTV members, over to second base, playing it is Shaw on to first to Patton to retire the side. The Gatemen tied up. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. To the 6th, it's 2-2, a good one here on WCTV in Wareham. Welcome back. It's the 6th inning here on WCTV. I'm Sam Corman. Glad to have you for this Monday night matchup. East versus West, Chatham versus Wareham. Or is it Chatham versus Wareham? We'll leave you to decide. I think it's Chatham versus Wareham, though. And here in the top half of the 6th inning, it is Shea Langoliers, the dangerous designated hitter, leading this Chatham Anglers team in RBIs with 17. Taking a ball. Griffin Roberts, surprisingly still on the mound. And that pitch is low, 2-0. And I say surprisingly, not because of his rough 5th inning, but because of the way that Jim Lawler has managed his pitching staff this season. Have rarely seen pitchers go past the 5th, and Griffin Roberts is doing just that. That pitch is upstairs, 3-0. Roberts got to settle in right now. Gave up 3 hits back in the 5th, amounting to 2 runs. Also an error by Jaron Duran. Did not help the cause. Strike from Griffin Roberts. 3-1 now. Grounded to the third baseman, Kasser fields it. High throw, but taken by Sable. Shea Langoliers is now 0 for 3. The Gatemen pitching. Griffin Roberts doing a nice job containing the big hitter in this lineup. John Aiello at the plate. The Wake Forest matchup continues. The 3rd time it's happened today. Each of these two guys has gotten the better of each other once today. Single for Aiello in the 2nd off of Roberts, and a strikeout looking in the 4th. He fouls that one away behind him and off of the catcher Anchia, 0-1. The Falmouth Commodores just got a run on a wild pitch. 4-2 in favor. Or excuse me, the Bourne Braves got a run on a wild pitch. 4-2 in favor of Falmouth. They were up 4-1. That pitch is low, 1-1. Aiello wearing number 17 in blue. 1-1, grounded right back to where it came from. The third baseman, Kasser, over to first. Stretching and making the play is Sable. 2 consecutive ground outs to Kyle Kasser at third base. And 2 down quickly for Griffin Roberts in the 6th. Not via the strikeout, but via the ground out to the left side of the infield. Nick Patton steps in and fouls one away in the first pitch he sees. Patton has continued to kind of destroy the Gatemen so far this season. The Delaware Blue Hen, you mentioned he had 2 home runs, 1 in each game previously this season against Wareham. That was back. He fouls this one away. That was back in the doubleheader on June 18th. It was a Sunday, in which Chatham won Game 1 8-3 and then took Game 2 6-1. Patton hit a 3-run homer in the first inning of that second game. Swing and a miss. Here he goes down without any problems. Griffin Roberts gets his 7th strikeout of the game. And the Chatham Anglers go down in order after a big 5th inning. On to the bottom half of the 6th. It is 2-2, a good one here on WCTV between the Gatemen and the Anglers. Welcome back. Bottom half of the sixth. You mentioned earlier how Stephen Kwan's so good at finding holes in the infield for base hits and kind of aiming where he wants. This guy can do the same exact thing. John Topa, 18 of his 26 hits thus far have been on ground balls through the infield. That stat courtesy of the spray chart at our friends at Point Street, keeping track of everything. 0-1 on Topa. Still in the game is Austin Bergner. Both these starters getting into the sixth today. Rarely see that in the Cape League. Ball outside on a breaking ball, and it off the glove of the catcher, Pena. 1-1. I believe Topa caught that after it went off Pena's glove. Big hands by the Rhode Island native and the Yukon Husky. The 1-1 in the dirt. Gets by Pena again, but nobody on base. 2-1. If Pena's gonna pick a time to play poorly behind the plate, it's right now when there's nobody threatening on the bases. The 1-1 in there for a strike, and it's 1-2 now on a slider. Or excuse me, 2-2. Topa is 0 for 1 with a walk. Lines it foul down the first base line and over toward the Gatemen batting cage. 2-2. Topa hit over 300 for the Yukon Huskies this season. His teammate Mason Fioli in the bullpen right now. Probably not going to be pitching today. We saw him yesterday, but he'll be hanging out there with the rest of the pitching staff, or selling 50-50 raffle tickets here at Spillane Field. 3-2 on Topa. That pitch was outside. From Portsmouth, Rhode Island, he drives this one into deep center field. Heading back is Coppins. He gets under it and makes the grab in deep center. Topa gave that one a ride. Haven't really seen him flex his power yet this year, and he did so right there, but to the wrong part of the ballpark, unfortunately. It's a football field as well. And that one right out to about the 20-yard line. 1 out in the sixth, and Blake Sable steps in. 0 for 2 on the day as well. Sable flew out to deep right field back in the fourth, but right to the warning track. The only part of the ballpark with a warning track. That's deep right by the Gatemen bullpen. Outside to Sable, 2-0. This is inning. Bergner only had 10 innings before this game, and now he has at least 15 and a third as of now. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss by Sable. Off-speed pitch. Catches him 2-1 on the changeup. But Bergner, he's given up 7 runs this year, but only 1 has been earned, which gives him an ERA of .9. Both these runs are earned today, so that'll go up a little bit after today, but now working back in the count, it's 2-2 on Sable. The USC Trojan, a former top 10 ranked catching prospect out of high school, the California native, attending the University of Southern California, the worst team in the Pac-12 this season. Slaps this one out to left field, and getting under it is Josh Stowers, the Louisville Cardinal, to make the play. 2 outs on 2 flyouts. Tristan Pompey is next. He's trying to get one out of here. Pompey 1 for 1. He's now 9 for 46 on the season. Came into today with a 178 batting average. One of the SEC's top players this season, the Kentucky Wildcat. First team All-SEC in 2017, a 361 average. And a OPS over 1,000, that's on base plus slugging percentage. A 464 on base percentage, which means his slugging percentage was 541. And that right there is wild stuff. 541 slugging for Tristan Pompey. Lined into right field for a base hit. Pompey, his second hit of that fashion today. And he's now 2 for 2. He looks to be heating up a little bit, that bat of Pompey. And a big day for him. That's his 10th hit of the year. And Jaron Duran's going to try to build off that. He's 0 for 2. And now a mound visit from John Schiffner, the Chatham head coach. And it looks like there is going to be a pitching change. They're looking out towards the bullpen. And certainly there will be. Heading in from the bullpen, we'll get you updated on who it is when we come back here on WCTV. It's Chatham 2, Wareham 2.
Located in Taunton, Mass, for being the official sponsors of the Gatemen Player Development Program. The Player Development Program aims to improve both the players' and interns' skills and prepares them for a career in professional baseball. Again, a sincere thank you to
Well, John Schiffner came out for the big pitching change, the first pitching change of the game here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. A good day, though, for Austin Bergner. Goes 5 2/3. Gives up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, and only walks 2 batters. Also hits a batter. Runner goes. Not in time is the throw from the catcher, Fabian Pena. And into second with a stolen base is Tristan Pompey. Pompey, one of the most underrated things about his game is his speed. And there he flashes it against this Anglers defense. We saw him get caught on last night's game. Duran from the left side is 0 for 2. It's 0-2 on Jaron Duran. Pompey now in scoring position. He's fast. A base hit would likely get him home. The Long Beach State Dirtbag takes a ball in the dirt, 1-2. Yes, they are the Dirtbags. I'm not using profanity here on the broadcast. That's actually the name of their baseball team. and it always has been. Long Beach State this year, Super Regionals, lost to Cal State Fullerton, and Brett Canine, a member of this Gatemen pitching staff, saw him throw a inning yesterday, unstoppable, striking out the side. The pitch to the lefty Duran fouled away in the fence over towards the third base side. Remaining at second is Pompey here with 2 outs in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Rodney Hutchinson Jr. is on the mound for the Chatham Anglers, another North Carolina Tar Heel. The rising sophomore, 7-4 with a 4.14 ERA for North Carolina this year. About a hit per inning as well. Here's the pitch from the second North Carolina, and he's going to call time instead. 1-2 is the count. And Duran's been a guy trying to find his consistency. He gets a hit here and there. He's hitting .224 on the year, but he's trying to get to the point where he's getting about a hit per game, and he hasn't been doing that completely. He's 0 for 2 today. Specializes opposite field, as most of these Gatemen hitters, or a lot of these Gatemen hitters, do go opposite field quite a bit. Duran is one of them. That pitch was outside, and he's working back into a 2-2 count. You get the look from behind home plate. Duran, 4 runs batted in this season. Blazing speed. 2-2. Grounded to the second baseman. Tough hop for Shaw, but he makes the play to beat Jaron Duran. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left in scoring position for the Wareham Gatemen. We're going to the 7th. It's 2-2 here on WCTV between the Gatemen and the Chatham Anglers. Top half of the 7th inning. Quite an outing for Griffin Roberts, but now Jordan Britton, a stretch pitcher out of Oregon State, steps in, and he's going to face the 6th hitter Fabian Pena to start this 7th inning. Pitch is high. Jordan Britton, 1 outing this year, was against the Bourne Braves, went 3 innings and was pretty impressive for the Gatemen. Did not get much action in a crowded Oregon State pitching staff this season. Of course, the Beavers were one of the best teams in college baseball, the best team in college baseball, I should say, in the regular season. Fell to LSU in the semifinals. Former Gateman Kramer Robertson and Cole Freeman on that LSU Tigers team, defeating and upsetting Oregon State. But Jordan Britton, now in a 1-1 count, 2-0 with a 2.46 ERA in 9 appearances for the Beavers. Popped up by Pena. Getting under it is the catcher Anchia, and it drops in the infield for a base hit. A complete and utter miscommunication between all the infielders And who knows where that one, who to charge the error to there, because there were 4 guys staring at the ball. And the runner is on first. It's Fabian Pena getting on. They were all just surrounding it, and then it just dropped in between them like a big piece of hail, a very big piece of hail. A baseball-sized piece of hail. And now there's a runner on first. In the 7th inning, 2-2 game. That could be a very big error by this Gatemen defense. We'll get the scoring on that in just a second. But either way, Fabian Pena on first. Josh Stowers, the speedy left fielder, at the plate. Talk about another team that lost in the semifinals. It's Louisville. Flown out. Topa barely has to move and makes the play in left. 1 down, a big out there. But that was a battle for the bronze medal of the College World Series right there. Jordan Britton out of Oregon State and Josh Stowers out of Louisville, the 2 teams that lost in the semifinals. They could have played a little third-place matchup down there in Omaha if they had the time, but that doesn't happen. No one wants to play for third place. 1 out. Britton fakes the pickoff move, getting Pena to scurry back. The pitch fouled away by Antonio Relat, the shortstop. Relat hitting .320 this year. Has been here since the beginning of the season, but he only has 25 at-bats thus far. Pitch is outside. And we have a thriller going on right now at Lowell Park in Katuitt. Oh, excuse me, it was a thriller, but it ends in a tie. The Harbor Hawks and Katuitt Cavaliers have tied at 9. That's final because of darkness in 9 innings. So talk about a 9-9 tie being rare. I guess I was wrong. That's the second 9-9 tie in the past 3 days here at the Cape Cod Baseball League. Both between Eastern Division rivals. First it was Wareham and Falmouth on Saturday. Now it's Hyannis and Katuitt today. Wow. It was 2 in the bottom of the 9th for Katuitt to tie the game, and they couldn't get more. So they make the comeback but are unable to get the walk-off. Pop up to first. And the play is made by Sable. Two out. Remaining at first is Relat. Still waiting on that scoring on the play. But we'll get... who was the hero? The hero, well, oh, wow. It was a Michael Tolia 2-run home run for the Katuitt Cavaliers that tied the game at 9 in the bottom half of the 9th. They bunt with 2 outs, and it goes foul. The leadoff hitter, the 9-hitter, Mason Coppins, is at the plate. Coppins is 0 for 1, reached on an error back in the 5th, and that scored a run. Swing and a miss there, 0-2. And the official scoring on that play is a single. They had no one to give the error to, I guess, so they just gave it a single. So that's the second hit of the game for Fabian Pena. The first hit off of Jordan Britton today. Checks over towards Pena at first base. Nothing doing. Sable tosses it right back to his Oregon State pitcher, fellow Pac-12. How about this infield for the Gatemen? A lot of Pac-12. That one comes up high, does not hit the batter in Coppins, but scares him a little bit, backs away, and the count up to 1-2 on Coppins. Here's the pitch, a breaking ball at Hang, but a little bit too high for Coppins to make Britton pay for it. And it's 2-2. Heading back to first is Pena. Jordan Britton delivers. Just inside. Full count. You get a good look at some contrails coming off that plane. Three and two. The Metairie, Louisiana native, a suburb of New Orleans, works a walk with 2 outs in the 7th. Runner in scoring position. The last time that happened was the 5th inning, in which Chatham scored 2 runs, and before that they hadn't had any runners in scoring position. Coppins on first. And this one's lined into center field, but played before it gets there by Ben Baird. Lining out is the leadoff hitter, Josh Shaw. No runs, 1 hit, and no errors. They leave 2 men on. We'll head to the bottom half of the 7th. Everyone get up and stretch. It's a 7th inning stretch here in Wareham. Chatham 2, Gatemen 2 on the Gatemen on WCTV. Also the Gatemen Baseball Network. Rodney Hutchinson Jr. trots back out to the mound and stands there as he waits for Ben Baird to step in. Bottom of the 7th inning. Gatemen and Anglers tied at 2. A reminder that the last 2 games for the Wareham Gatemen have both gone to extra innings. Here's the pitch to Baird, inside, 1-0. Ben Baird on the season, 6 for 40, coming today, now 7 for 42. Here's the pitch, fouled back into the bleachers. On the first base side, 1-1 on Baird. The shortstop waits and chops it right back towards the pitcher, Hutchinson Jr., and he tosses it to first to Patton. Easy out for the Anglers to start the 7th. Hutchinson Jr.'s come in, and he's done a good job. Granted, he's only faced 2 batters, but he's gotten them both to ground out pretty weakly both times. And the Gatemen have to adjust. Stephen Kwan's the guy to get something going for the Gatemen. He's 1 for 3 today. And here he is. Takes a strike from Hutchinson Jr., 0-1. On the outside corner to Kwan, it's 0-2. So now the Gatemen's leadoff hitter in the hole, 0-2, and here's the pitch. Low. 1-2. Kwan from Fremont, California. That's Northern California, I believe, and it's 0-2 outside. 1-2 now to Kwan. Kwan has a hit in every single one of his games thus far, except for yesterday's game against the YD Red Sox. 2-2 pitch, fouled away. But still, at this point, this is game number 7 for him, 7 RBIs thus far. It's been a productive start to his Gatemen career for sure, after an outstanding season at Oregon State. Hutchinson Jr. Pause and then kicks. Grounded to second. Josh Shaw to Patton in time. The second out of the 7th inning to Stephen Kwan. Tanner Dodson's next. He's 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch in this game. Tanner Dodson was the Cape Cod Baseball League batting leader coming into today. We'll see what happens after today's matches are rounded out. This one's chopped back up the middle, played by the shortstop Berlot. On the run, over to Patton in time. 3 quick groundouts get the Chatham Anglers out of the 7th inning. To the 8th we go. It's 2-2 between the Gatemen and the Anglers here on WCTV. Jacob Olson steps in to face Jordan Britton. It's the top half of the 8th inning, and the Gatemen and Anglers tied at 2. The last 2 games for Wareham have gone a combined 23 innings, 11 yesterday against YD. That was a 3-1 loss. And on Saturday, it was a 9-9 tie in 12 with the Falmouth Commodores. First pitch to Olson is fouled away. The South Carolina Gamecock 25 for 77 before today began, but he's 0 for 3, facing Jordan Britton for the first time today. Here's the pitch. It's low. 1-2 on Jacob Olson. Olson, a freshman this year at South Carolina. And boy, was he outstanding for a freshman. 6 home runs, 27 RBIs for the Gamecocks. Here he has a single into left field, and he gets the Chatham Anglers off to the start that they want in the 8th inning. Off of Jordan Britton, it's a single to get Jacob Olson on base for the first time. He's 1 for 4 now. Shea Langoliers can change the game with any swing of the bat. And here he steps in. 17 RBIs this season. One of the leaders in the CCBL. Top 5 around the league. Here's the pitch from the lefty, Jordan Britton. It's high. 1-0 on Langoliers. Two grand slams this season. Fortunately for the Gatemen, the bases are not loaded right now. 1-0 on him. Swing and a miss on a big breaking ball. Catches him off speed. Way out in front. 1-1 is the count on Jacob Olson, on Shea Langoliers. Olson is on first with that leadoff single. Pickoff attempt almost gets away from the first baseman Sable, but he does a nice job snatching that one out of the air. Langoliers, a former draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays. That was back in 2016, 34th round. Instead attended Baylor University, where this year as a freshman hit .313 in the Big 12. Pitch is high, 2-1. Not many Baylor Bears here in the Cape League. I believe he's one of just a few, if any, others out of Baylor. Ten home runs, 38 runs batted in. Jordan Britton fakes the pickoff move and now resets. And so does Langoliers from Keller, Texas. 66 hits, and now Jordan Britton steps off once again, taking his time after he put the leadoff guy on first. John Aiello waits on deck. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike. 2 strikes, 2 balls on Langoliers. He already struck out looking once today. 0 for 3. The Gatemen have done a nice job containing the sluggers of the Chatham Anglers today. Langoliers 0 for 3. Olson, that was his first hit just now. He's 1 for 4. And no extra base hits yet for the Chatham Anglers as well. This one's fouled away. Langoliers stays alive. Usually when you can limit teams to 0 extra base hits throughout a game, you're probably going to win more often than not, but that's not the case right now with the Gatemen. It's 2-2. Just like usually when you have 18 hits in the game, you're probably going to win, but that was not the case on Saturday. You just never know what's going to happen in this game, especially with these Wareham Gatemen. 18 hits in addition to 4 Falmouth errors on Saturday for the Gatemen, and they still were unable to come away with a win after Joshua Bro, a community college guy, comes in, pinch hits in the bottom half of the 9th, hits a 3-run shot to tie the game at 8. Top of the 10th, the Gatemen take the 9-8 lead. Bottom of the 10th, Falmouth ties it up. And that will be the end of the game. Full count coming up on Langoliers. A dangerous hitter. Britton's got to be careful not to hang a breaking ball with 3 balls in this count. Here's the pitch. He does just that, and it's driven out to center field. Going back is Quan. He looks up, and it's gone. A 2-run shot for Shea Langoliers, and the Chatham Anglers take a 4-2 lead. He destroyed that ball. Jordan Britton hung the breaking ball that I hate to say I just predicted it, but I was, right before that. And it's now 4-2 Chatham. And Jordan Britton gets taken yard for the first time this season. Nothing Stephen Kwan could do. He could have maybe had a play on the jump, but he was just too far from the wall in general to be able to get back there in time and then jump. Because center field's so deep here in Wareham, and that ball was just crushed to dead center. Just to the left of that 412 sign, if you're looking towards the field from the outfield, just to the left of that 412 sign, that ball probably traveled 410 feet. He launched it. And Langoliers, that's his 5th home run of the season. He has RBIs 18 and 19. And now John Aiello trying to follow that one up. He does not have the same power. And he takes a pitch inside, 1-1. This ball takes a crazy bounce in the infield and goes over everyone's head. Topa fields it and runs it into the infield. Nothing they could do about that one. That was a wild bounce over on the third base side. And a single for John Aiello. His second hit of the game. He's now 2 for 4 in his CCBL career. Or in his second year CCBL career, I should say. He played here last year. And Nick Patton steps in. Boy, did this inning take a turn with that shot by Langoliers. Now Britton is now staring into the face of Jim Lawler, the pitching coach, who's now out on the mound. The rest of the infield surrounds Jim Lawler and Jordan Britton, looking towards the bullpen to see what happens. There is some action out there. One guy warming up completely, but no one entering the game just yet. Looks like Lawler is going to keep Jordan Britton on the mound. And that's definitely the case. Runner on first. Nobody out after 3 consecutive hits to start this inning for the Chatham Anglers. That was a bomb by Langoliers. I hate to say it again, but he got all of it. Here's the pitch from the lefty Britton. Breaking ball in there for a strike. 0-1. Here's the pitch to Patton. Low. 1-1. Ball gets away from Anchia on to second. And advancing is the runner, Aiello. The ball skips away from the shortstop, or the second baseman, Duran, but backing him up was Baird, keeping the runner at second in Aiello. Still nobody out. And now another runner in scoring position for Chatham. Now a black and white look at the game. And back to color. 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Good pitch from Britton on Nick Patton, the slugger. Patton went to IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, one of the premier sports high schools in the country down there on the Gulf Coast. Former member of the Amsterdam Mohawks of the Perfect Game League. That's down in New York. Not Amsterdam, Netherlands, but Amsterdam, New York. 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Let's not forget that New York was once New Amsterdam. The 1-2. Popped up. Calling off everyone is Sable, and he gets under it and makes the play for the first out of the inning. A big out for Jordan Britton. But now the Gatemen hitters only have 6 outs to work with. They're down by 2 now. Britton trying to keep it that way with Fabian Pena in the box. Pena's 2 for 3, excuse me. He's had a really good day. Scored a run back in the 5th inning. That was the run that ultimately gave Chatham a 2-1 lead. This one's blooped into shallow right field, and it's going to drop for a base hit. Rounding third and stopping there is the runner, John Aiello. He has to stop because he had to wait to see if that ball was going to drop. And he gets to third. A single for Fabian Pena. And now runners on the corners. Josh Stowers is the batter. Stowers, the Louisville product, grounds this one sharply off the glove of Baird and into left field. It gets by Topa. And now rounding third and heading, he's going to stop there, but the run from third scores. It's John Aiello getting across on an RBI single from Stowers. Stowers gets to second on an error by Topa. In the 5th hit of the inning on Jordan Britton in the 6th batter of the inning. And now Jim Lawler is going to come out and make the pitching change. When we get back, there will be a new pitcher on the mound. Right now, it's 5-2 Chatham here on WCTV. The new pitcher for the Gatemen is Aaron Hernandez out of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And if you want to talk about an island resort for a college, that's what Texas A&M Corpus Christi is. It's on a little mini island down there in South Texas, and that's why they're called the Islanders. Not to be confused with the NHL's New York Islanders. 1 out in the 8th. The batter is Antonio Relot, and he fouls the first pitch away. Runners on second and third. Pena on third. Stowers on second. He singled just now, reached second on an error by the left fielder John Topa. Rare defensive mistake by him. A crazy play all around. And now the Gatemen in trouble. 5-2 is the score. Hernandez making his Gateman debut. Did not pitch for Texas A&M Corpus Christi this year. That slider gets away. And now the count 2-1 on Relot. Relot is 1 for 3 today. Singled back in the 5th. And in games decided by less than 3 runs, the Gatemen are 2-7-1. In this game, as of now, is decided by less than 3 runs. That could change with a base hit right here from Antonio Relot. Relot looking for some more production. He has 1 RBI this year. The 2-2 going to come in from the new Gatemen pitcher, Aaron Hernandez. Here it is. Lined foul. And the count remains 2-2. Go back around the league, the YD Red Sox have given up just 7 hits in the last 2 games. They shut out the Brewster Whitecaps 4-0. Gets by Baird for a base hit. Rounding third and scoring the second run is Josh Stowers. Pena had scored from third. It's a 2 RBI single for Antonio Verlot. And the score is 7-2 Chatham. A rude welcoming to the Cape Cod Baseball League for Aaron Hernandez out of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And this is the 8th batter of the inning. It's Mason Coppins. He swings at the first pitch. 0-1. Top half of the 8th, the game was tied before this inning began. That pitch in there for a strike at the knees. And it's 0-2 from Hernandez, a fastball there. Mason Coppins is the batter. The center fielder out of Northeastern. Reached twice today, a walk and an error back in the 5th. So he's 0 for 1. Swings and misses, or tips that one. And it gets and it goes into the glove of the catcher, Anchia, so he does strike out. Coppins down swinging. The second out of the inning. And now Josh Shaw completes the bat around right now. He steps in the 1 hole. Hernandez deals outside, 1-0 on Shaw, the only batter in this Chatham lineup to not have an at-bat in this inning. 5 hits unloaded by the Anglers off of Jordan Britton before they knocked him out, and then 1 more off Hernandez. So 6 hits for Chatham in this inning. Before this inning, they had 5 total. Just exploding on this Gatemen bullpen after a good performance from Griffin Roberts through 6 innings. Struck out 7 batters. Here's the pitch. Low. 2-1. Josh Shaw 0 for 4 today. And he is one of just 2 Anglers hitters without a hit against this Gatemen pitching staff this evening. Here's the pitch. Fouled away over the bleachers on the first base side. Count runs to 2-2. Quick reminder around the league, Cotuit and Hyannis tied at 9 off that 2-run homer by Michael Tolia in the bottom half of the 9th. That tied the game for the Cotuit Cavaliers, and then they couldn't add the extra run. So that game ended after 9 innings due to darkness. Grounded to the shortstop Baird. He steps on second to end the inning. But Chatham scores 5 runs on 6 hits, no errors, 1 error, and they leave 1 man on base. To the bottom half of the 8th, the Gatemen have some work to do. They're down 7-2 on WCTV. Welcome back. 5-7-2 Chatham, excuse me. It's the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Gatemen would love to do what Chatham just did in the top half, but they're going to have to start early. Kyle Kasser is the leadoff hitter. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Reminder, the CCBL All-Star Game here in Wareham on July 22nd. That pitch fouled away on a bunt attempt by Kasser, 0-2. Rodney Hutchinson Jr. is in the game still for Chatham, and it remains an all-Tar Heel pitching performance for the Anglers thus far. It was Austin Bergner going the first 6, and Hutchinson Jr. has come in for the last inning and now the second inning of his work. Coming against the 3-4-5 hitters, the heart of the order for the Gatemen, Kasser, Anchia, and Topa today. Here's the 0-1 to Kasser. On the outside corner again. Excuse me, it's now 2-2, the count. I was rather behind, and now Kasser facing Hutchinson Jr. He steps off. The 2-2 to Kyle Kasser outside, and it's a full count now. Kasser going to be a senior at Oregon next year, one of the few rising seniors on this Gatemen roster. 2016, played in the Northwoods League, 50 games out there for the Rochester Honkers. Swing and a miss. Kasser is down swinging, so the former Honker heads back to the dugout, giving some words of advice to Jake Anchia as he steps in. Anchia out of Nova Southeastern, trying to get a rally going for the Gatemen. They're down by 5. Anchia's 1 for 3. A single in the first, pop out in the third, ground out in the 5th, and now he's still 1 for 3 because he just got hit by that pitch. And he heads down to first with 1 out. Runner on base for John Topa, trying to make amends for that error back in the top half of the inning. Rare fielding mistake by the Yukon Husky in left. His spot for the year for the Gatemen. He's been out there almost every game, next to Stephen Kwan since he got here. Pitch upstairs, 1-0. Topa is 0 for 2. He's now 26 for 75 on the season. That's about .333. He was once second in the CCBL in batting average a few days ago. Fouled away towards the John H. Wild press box behind home plate. And it's 1-1. Topa with 9 RBIs thus far. And he grounds this one to second. He shortstop, Relat to the second baseman, Shaw, on to first to Patton. A 6-4-3 double play for the Chatham Anglers gets them out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and the double play leaves no men on base. To the 9th, it's 7-2 Chatham here on WCTV. So 1 inning for Aaron Hernandez, and now Will Neely comes in. Neely hasn't pitched in a while and has that nasty breaking ball, and he blows a fastball through Jacob Olson, who led off the 8th with a single. Started some magic for the Chatham Anglers 1 inning ago. It was Shea Langoliers homering, and that breaking ball or fastball hangs up high. 1-1. Will Neely, for him, it's been command. That's been a struggle so far this season. Hasn't been too bad, but it's getting that breaking ball. It's locating that breaking ball in the right spot for Will Neely. That's the key for him. And number 50 out of the University of Tennessee, facing a fellow SEC East rival right now. Tennessee versus South Carolina, pitches high, 3-1. He deals very quickly as well. If you haven't figured that out by now, the count's already 4 pitches in. He just got up to the mound about 10 seconds ago. Swing and a miss, 3-2. Olson singled in the 8th, and Shea Langoliers hit that bomb on a hanging breaking ball off to center field. That was off of Jordan Britton. And then 3 more hits off of Britton before Aaron Hernandez came in, allowed a hit as well. And ultimately 5 runs for Chatham. Pitch was fouled away, and now Olson's still at a 2-2 count. Neely is a Knoxville native. Right at the hometown of Tennessee. Pitch inside, 3-2. Oh, excuse me, that was the fourth ball of the at-bat. And now a walk. So Neely walks the first batter he faces. And a runner on first for Shea Langoliers. That was the same thing as last inning. And this guy is dangerous, especially with a breaking ball pitcher, a curveball pitcher like Will Neely right now. Pitch is low. But that was off a lefty in Britton. This is a righty, and he has the advantage with the righty batter, Langoliers, at the plate. (7-2) Chatham, top half of the 9th. The pitcher, Tennessee's Will Neely. Breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1. Langoliers is 1 for 4 with that 2-run home run back in the 8th inning. RBIs 18 and 19 for Shea Langoliers. Drives this one deep out to left field. Leaping and making the play is Tanner Dodson. What a catch by Dodson in right. He has been outstanding at the plate this year, outstanding on the mound, and now showing off some defensive skills in deep right field. 1 out in the 9th. Wake Forest's John Aiello is now in. Not too far of a drive from Knoxville to Winston-Salem. Knoxville right on the North Carolina border. Right on the other side of the Smoky Mountains lies the great state of North Carolina, and that pitch is low. Aiello, 189 for Chatham last season. He's back for his first game of the year, and he takes a pitch low, 2-0. He goes by Johnny, a Lansdale, Pennsylvania native. Hit .328 for the Demon Deacons this season. He absolutely pounds this one foul down the third base line. Count moves to 2-2. Excuse me, the count's now 2-1. Neely, the righty, staring down the hitter. Swing and a miss by Aiello. Getting put in the cleanup spot in his first game. Coach John Schiffner showing some confidence in the returner, putting him in right behind the slugger of Langoliers and another slugger in Jacob Olson. Outside. 3-2. Nick Patton is also a slugger. He's on deck. Has 3 home runs this season, also 15 RBIs. Here's the pitch. Off his leg. Aiello in some pain, walking it off. And now a full count. The Gatemen winless since Thursday, excuse me. Friday was supposed to be a matchup with the Brewster Whitecaps, but it was rescheduled to tomorrow. So join us on that broadcast here on WCTV tomorrow at 6:30 against the Brewster Whitecaps. The first time that team will come to Spillane this year, 1 of 2, and that pitch is inside for ball 4. Will Neely now with a runner on first and a runner on second. It's Olson on second, Aiello on first. Very dangerous Nick Patton now at the plate. 2 walks for Will Neely pretty quickly in this game for him, his 9th inning. Not going as planned. He struggled quite a bit this season. It's just the curveball is just not going where he wants it to. This one's popped straight up in the air towards the shortstop, Ben Baird. He gets under it and makes the play for the second out of the inning. It's Nick Patton being retired for the 3rd consecutive time after going 1 for 1 in his first 2 plate appearances. Patton has a run scored, but has now popped out in 2 consecutive innings. Fabian Pena is the hitter. Scored back in the 8th, one of those 5 runs scored for Chatham. He's also having a sneaky good 3 for 4 afternoon. Neely misses outside. Another first pitch ball from Will Neely. His command just continuing to struggle here on the Cape. 1-0. The Knoxville native delivers, fouled away by the Manhattan Jasper in Fabian Pena. You got to wonder what the scene is like at Manhattan's college's baseball field. It's got to be pretty interesting right there in downtown Manhattan. Or who knows where they play. They might not even play in Manhattan. That one up the middle gets by Baird for a base hit. Rounding third and heading home is Jacob Olson. He will score. Stopping at second is John Aiello. It's 8-2 Chatham on an RBI single from Fabian Pena. Six runs for Chatham here in the 8th and 9th inning, and they're just continuing to roll all over this Gatemen bullpen. It was Griffin Roberts with an outstanding performance earlier, but the bullpen just has not been as good as Wareham would like it to be. This one's lined right into right field for a base hit. Picked up by Dodson. Fires it home to prevent a run from scoring. Stopping at third is John Aiello. 2 consecutive singles. That's now 2 hits and 2 walks on Will Neely here in the 9th. There's 2 outs. And the bases are loaded. Antonio Relat is the batter. He singled back in the 8th. An RBI single that scored Josh Stowers, the final run scored of the inning for Chatham back in that 8th inning. pitch is low. One and 0 on Relat. Swings and misses through that one. The UAB Blazer does, and it's now 1 and 1. Mason Coppins is on deck. Will Neely has faced. This is the 7th batter he's faced this inning. He only has 2 outs. He has 2 walks, 2 hits given up against this Chatham lineup. And right now, as it stands, Chatham has scored, as I do my math, Chatham has scored 22 runs off Wareham in just 16 innings. Strike 3 swinging from Antonio Relat. Neely gets his first strikeout. Chatham goes down. To the bottom half of the 9th, the Gatemen are going to need at least 6 runs. They're down 8-2 to the Anglers here on WCTV. Blake Sable leading off the bottom half of the 9th inning. The Gatemen need 6 runs to come across if they want to tie this game. And they're going to have to do it off Rodney Hutchinson, the North Carolina Tar Heel. It's been an all-UNC pitching performance from the Anglers today. It started with Austin Bergner, and now Rodney Hutchinson has come in for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. He's done a good job. 1 strikeout, no hits allowed for Hutchinson thus far. And Bergner only gave up 6 hits himself in the first 6 innings of the game, 2 earned runs. Sable breaks his bat right back to the pitcher. Hutchinson on to first to Patton for the first out. Not what the Gatemen had planned if they wanted to come back in this game, but 1 out here in the 9th. Tristan Pompey steps in. If anyone's had a good day for the Gatemen today, it's been Tristan Pompey. 2 for 2 with a walk as well. So 2 singles and a walk for Pompey. On the outside part of the plate, no good for a ball to Pompey. Here's the pitch, chopped foul, and it's 1-1. Bourne beat Falmouth 7-5. A good comeback victory for the Braves to get them over the hump against a division rival that was battling them for second place. Pompey lays a bunt down. It goes foul. 1-2. And for the Chatham Anglers right now, if they can hold on to this lead, they'll improve to 11-13 on the season. And with some games going on still, this will be there. They would still be in 4th place in the Eastern Division, ahead of the Harwich Mariners, who continue to struggle, falling to the Orleans Firebirds 2-1 today. They just have not been scoring runs. That pitch is low. Full count coming up to Pompey. Chatham looking for their 3rd consecutive victory. Here's the 2-2 to Tristan Pompey, grounded to first. Played by Patton, steps on the bag for the 2nd out of the 9th inning. The Gatemen down to their final out here at Spillane Field. It's the first time Pompey has gone down tonight. And Jaron Duran is the last hope. Looking ahead, the Gatemen playing Brewster tomorrow right here at Spillane. That's the 3rd game of a 3-game homestand, in which they're probably going to be 0-2 going into that if this score holds up. Then they will travel to Bourne for a Wednesday matchup with the Braves, and right back at home on Thursday for a big matchup against the Katuitt Kettleers. Then a road trip at Harwich and at Katuitt this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Sunday, once again hosting Katuitt. So a lot of division matchups against the Katuitt Kettleers, the division-leading Kettleers, in the future for the Gatemen. It's 1-1. Swing and a miss, and the Gatemen down to their final strike after Duran swings through that one. Chatham plays Katuitt tomorrow at Lowell Park, and then they head back home for a 2-game homestand with Brewster and Hyannis. That's that's Wednesday and Thursday. Then the weekend on a road trip, Bourne and Harwich on the road for the Anglers. Fouled away. Count remains 1-2. Jaron Duran is 0 for 3 tonight. He's now 11 for 52 this year. Would like to have more opportunities to use his wheels and steal bases this year, but just has not been getting on bases enough to do so. The Anglers bullpen on their feet, out here in left field. Rodney Hutchinson kicks and delivers. Outside. 2-2. Duran holding on. Number 39, North Carolina Tar Heel, brings his glove over his head towards the plate. Chopper in front of the plate. Tough play for the shortstop, not in time. Duran was blazing down the line, and there was no shot for Antonio Relat to beat him. So Duran gets an infield single, and Ben Baird is once again the final hope. Chatham is 3-2 in the last 5 games, trying to improve on that mark. And Ben Baird, the Washington Husky, takes a ball inside, 1-0. And Hutchinson Jr. doing a nice job coming in relief of Austin Bergner, who had a good outing to start. And Hutchinson Jr. has been the difference in the game, honestly, because it's been the Gatemen bullpen that Chatham has kind of unloaded on. And with the good bullpen work of Rodney Hutchinson combined with that, that's been the difference in this game. That's what's given Chatham the edge, is that bullpen difference right there. And here's the 1-1. Grounded right back to Hutchinson. He knocks it down, throws to first, and the game is over. The Gatemen fall 8-2 to the Chatham Anglers that's their 2nd consecutive loss this season. They're winless in their last 3, and the Chatham Anglers improve to 11-13-1 on the season. The Gatemen fall to 10-13-1. Thank you for watching and listening to this broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on WCTV. Join us tomorrow when the Gatemen host the Brewster Whitecaps for the first time this season. For the rest of WCTV production crew, for Nick Veronesi, our Wareham Gatemen producer, I'm Sam Corman, checking out from Spillane Field here in Wareham.